rise and shine. You're watching WCTV Eyewitness News. The Good Morning Show starts now.
Happening now on GMS, Congress has failed to elect a speaker in the first ballot for the first time since 1923.
Plus, Governor Ron DeSantis calling Florida the land of liberty. This is all yesterday, getting sworn in for his second term in office.
Good morning,
How about
everybody.
it?
Look
Happy New
who's
Year.
back. Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a year.
All right. Exactly. Haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah, my goodness. All right.
Yes, yes. Well, welcome back. It's nice to on this wonderful Wednesday.
Wonderful Wednesday.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of a wild Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't know if wonderful is the word when it comes to this weather.
It's always a good word. The weather's welcoming me back. I got plenty to talk about. We're going to be busy this morning, so let's just jump into it. To the big wall we go. You see all the red shaded areas. That's from Gulf County through Liberty County, through Gadsden County, through Decatur County, up to Mitchell County. All those areas and off to the west, that is where we have a tornado watch. Remember, a watch means that the ingredients are there and maybe something could happen. So we put a little extra emphasis on keeping our eyes on it. Doesn't mean there's anything happening there now. That's when we have a warning, and there are no warnings in our area. There are some warnings way off to the west, and that's part of the reason why they're going to issue the watches. We've got enough ingredients in place where this line of showers and storms that's already had the history of some dangerous weather to the west since yesterday, it certainly can spawn some bigger storms around here when it gets here later this morning. As a matter of fact, I think for most of us, we're probably talking after the morning commute. Here's our future cast, and we get to like 9, 10 o'clock, and that's when I think some of our western areas start to see some of those bigger showers. Now, we can find a little bit of rain before then, a couple of drizzles on windshield as we get ready to get going this morning. Kids are going back to school just about everywhere now. I think for the morning commutes, most of our area, especially the farther east you are, not going to have any concerns with the weather. And then as we get through the morning, maybe past lunchtime into the early afternoon hours, that's when that line of showers moves across our region, leaving the western areas first, exiting eastern areas last. And then we start to look for some clearing, everything much more calm and quiet for us as we head into tomorrow. Now, as far as the temperatures go, they're up over 70 pretty much everywhere. Live Oak's at 69, so it's a warm start to the day. I think we're going to see these numbers climb for a little while, but then the line of showers will knock those temperatures down, and they won't be able to rebound all that well. There is cooler coming. There is calmer coming. All that down the road of peace. I'll break it all down several times this morning. We are talking showers, storms, got the red banners. You know what that means, First Alert Weather Day. I'll break it all down in just a couple of minutes.
All right, well, with that risk for some storms later this morning, right now is a great time to download the free WCTV First Alert weather app. It'll alert you to any watches or warnings that are issued for your exact location. And there is a live radar. It's free and it's in your phone or tablet's app store. Well, taking an oath to Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis ushering his second term in office yesterday on the steps of the historic state capitol.
Yeah, the governor calling Florida the land of liberty, reflecting on his first term and looking ahead to the next 4 years. Governor DeSantis winning his re-election in November by 19 points over Democrat Charlie Crist. Yesterday, DeSantis praising his administration's response to hurricane relief efforts and mentioning accomplishments like being the fastest growing state, being #1 in new business formation, which he calls economic freedom, and more. He also says that he hopes Republican-controlled legislature will approve more tax cuts amid a record budget surplus in the state, and saying that the fight must go on.
Now, fighting for freedom is not always easy because the threats to freedom are more complex and more widespread than they have been in the past. The threats can come from entrenched bureaucrats in D.C., jet setters in Davos, and corporations wielding public power. But fight we must.
And among those attending yesterday's inauguration, former Governor Jeb Bush and State Senator Corey Simon.
I, Jeanette Nunez.
I, Jeanette Nunez.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support, protect.
Florida's lieutenant governor and cabinet were also sworn in yesterday. The only new face, newly elected Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson. The former president of the Florida Senate replaces Nikki Fried and makes it an all-Republican cabinet now. Attorney General Ashley Moody and Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis were also sworn in for their second terms in office yesterday. Democrats in Florida reacting to the governor's inauguration. State Rep Gallup Franklin, who was elected in November to represent District 8, sharing his perspective as a Tallahassee native. He says whether or not people agree with the governor, his re-election is a product of voters making their voices heard.
Not thinking through the political differences, today was about celebrating American democracy. You know, a free and fair election where people can go to the polls and cast a vote for the ideology and the policies that they believe is what's best for Florida.
Franklin has said his top legislative priorities include economic development in his district, which encompasses Gaston County and parts of Leon County.
And yesterday's inauguration having some international flavor. We talked to multiple people attending who moved to the United States from other countries. One woman we spoke with is from the Netherlands. She said she and her friend came to support Governor DeSantis in his second term, being supporters of his from the beginning, while one man from Cuba says he's not heavily involved in politics, but saw yesterday's ceremony as an important event for the state of Florida.
I think it's wonderful, and it really, for me, what caught my attention is how this country, even though not everybody's a believer, they try to get things right with God.
I decided to join my friend. Like me, she is also an immigrant. This is her first time attending a big political event, and this inauguration for both of us is a big event, and I wanted to support her. And in general, I am pleased with the governance.
Yesterday's ceremonial events wrapped up with the inaugural ball at the Tucker Center.
Well, moving over to D.C. now, where the 118th Congress got off to a rocky but historic start in the House. They failed to elect a speaker in the first ballot. That's the first time that's happened since 1923. After two more unsuccessful tries, they called it quits for the day and will try again today. CBS's Jared Hill is in New York with the latest.
By surname, a speaker has not been elected.
After several chaotic hours, the House adjourned yesterday when Republicans failed to unite behind California Congressman Kevin McCarthy's bid to become Speaker. In 3 consecutive votes, McCarthy failed to get the 218 he needs to lead the chamber. It's the first time in 100 years that it's taken multiple rounds to elect a speaker.
Members are talking. We're walking through. I think we'll find our way to get there.
Late last night, McCarthy said he isn't dropping out, insisting he's close and considering further concessions to win over some holdouts.
But most of the issues have already been settled. They're small things.
A group of conservative Republicans has been lining up opposition to McCarthy. 19, then 20 voted against him. He can only afford to lose 4.
If you want to drain the swamp, you cannot put the biggest alligator in charge of the exercise.
Ohio Republican Jim Jordan, among those nominated by others in defiance, suggested he doesn't want the job.
And I think Kevin McCarthy's the right guy to lead us. I really do.
Without a speaker, the House of Representatives can't do the work of the people. Members can't be sworn in. Committees can't convene. The chamber can't even vote on bills.
But in the end, we got to govern, and we can't be held hostage by 5 or 6 people.
Hakeem Jeffries. On the Democratic side, all 212 members voted in support of their new leader, New York's Hakeem Jeffries. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
So what role could the Democrats play in choosing the next speaker? Nebraska Republican Don Bacon, in an editorial earlier this week, is among those suggesting he'd be willing to work across the aisle to find an agreeable Republican speaker. Until then, no House business can begin, including the swearing in of the members. In 1856, it took 2 months and 133 votes to choose a House Speaker. All right, the time now 5:08 and checking in with Rob, who is back and will be busy, sounds like.
Yeah, going to be a busy morning. You know, and a lot of us, it's going to be a lot of waiting because we're still probably several hours away from the showers getting here. But we do have some watches, warnings, some advisories to talk about. All the warnings well west of here and way north of here. The current watch is for the possibility of tornadoes, and this is for about half the area. It's not quite to Leon County or Wakulla County or Thomas County, but all areas to the west we have the current watch until noon, and I'd be surprised if they don't end up extending that watch maybe to a little bit more area to the east. We'll see how things develop as this line of showers does approach. Right now, all we're looking at are some sprinkles early this morning, and probably from now through the morning commute, that's about the most that we're looking at. The main line of showers and storms still way to the west, and it's probably a good couple hours away from getting here, and it extends up from near Atlanta back through Mobile. So as this works its way from west to east later this morning, for a lot of us, probably not until after 10, 11 o'clock, especially the farther east you go, that's when we'll be talking about the potential for some of those bigger showers and storms. And it can happen, you know, 8, 9 o'clock in some of our western areas as it spreads more into our region. There's going to be lots of lightning. There's going to be some wind gusts, and there is the potential for some of those more dangerous thunderstorms. So we've got our eyes on a bunch of things over the next several hours. But for the early morning part of the commute, I think that's the way to do it. Maybe get up and get going a little bit early this morning, get to where you have to get to before that line of showers arrives. And we're still talking, like for most of us, after 9 o'clock. Now, as far as the temperatures go this morning, it's warm to get started. It's been warm. We had records yesterday. Temperatures way up in the mid-80s the beginning of January. We're going to see most numbers this morning up in the 70s, and they'll likely perk up a little bit more today before that line of showers moves in to cool those numbers back down. And then I think we get some cooling, some more seasonable weather starting tomorrow, and a lot clearer starting tomorrow too. So once we're done with this today, the unsettled look that we've been having, the warm and muggy feel that we've been having, that's going to go away for a little while. Here's Futurecast. We get to 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and now here come some of those showers for areas from the middle of our viewing area, like the Highway 319 corridor and west. And then it's after 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, even 2 o'clock, that some of our eastern areas can expect those showers and storms, and it may speed up a little tiny bit. We'll watch, we'll see how it's able to hold together or if it deteriorates, and of course we'll have updates throughout the morning for you. They'll be here, they'll be online, they'll be on social media, they'll be everywhere. Now, as far as the Futurecast goes, notice we get to 10, 11 o'clock tonight and everything's all gone. We start to look for some clearing overnight and cooler, drier, nicer looking weather's on the way, I think, for Thursday into the weekend, but I'm putting the rain chances at 100%. We're all going to get wet at some point as we go through our day today, and it's likely going to happen probably by the early afternoon hours. Once we get to the evening, things start to clear up. Temperatures will be different over the next couple of days. We might not get back to 70 on Friday, and we're likely going to see those morning temperatures start falling. Nowhere near as cold as it was a couple of weeks ago, but there could be some upper 30s by the weekend. We'll check on the longer version of the forecast in just a bit.
All right, and of course, we want to take this time to remind you to download the WCTV News First Alert weather app. It'll alert you to anything that's going on, watches or warnings, and you'll also get a live radar. It's free in your phone or tablet's app store.